Okay, so as I promised, I am going to teach you and show you how to create a drawing in 1 point perspective. And so here is an example of a cityscape that we will be looking at to do for your assignment this week. As you look, perspective, basically what that means is it is taking a 2D drawing and kind of tricking the eye and making it look 3D and a little bit more realistic. Another thing about perspective is that in the drawing, things that are closer at the foreground are larger, and things that are further away in the background are smaller. You can adapt your drawing and create some interesting effects that maybe don't have to be in perspective. Like my sky has a moon. The moon is quite large compared to the buildings, so it doesn't necessarily look realistic, but you don't have to have it be realistic in that sense. So if you want to adapt and be creative in your drawing that you do this week, go right ahead. I do, though, want all of your buildings and everything within your buildings to be in perspective, and so we will take a look at that. Another thing to look at when you're looking at perspective is how everything goes off to 1 point. We're going to focus on 1 point perspective, and so that means that we have one vanishing point in our drawing and everything leads to that vanishing point. So we'll get started and I will show you how to create, a drawing in 1 point perspective. So to start, what you need is you need a drawing paper. It can be anything. You can use notebook paper, you could use printer paper from a computer, you can use construction paper, or if you have a sketchbook, that would work as well. You also need a pencil with an eraser. And you can use like a mechanical pencil that actually works well. And then you also need a ruler. And my ruler is clear, so it's going to be somewhat difficult to see in this video, but we will get started with that anyways. So as we work, one thing you're going to notice is that in a perspective drawing, you need a couple things. There are a few rules. The first thing is you need a horizon line. So what you're going to do is take your ruler and divide your paper. Now your horizon line, what that means is it's just the line that divides your sky and your ground. And so you can see that here. If you've ever been outside and you see an imaginary line where all of a sudden the ground ends and the sky meets, that's what they're talking about. That's your horizon line. And we are going to focus on 1 point perspective, so you are going to create one vanishing point. So I've got my vanishing point there. And that means, and your vanishing point, can go anywhere on your page. It doesn't have to be in the middle. It can go off to the side a little bit. Mine is on the middle, but that doesn't necessarily matter. Now, what happens is everything that you create needs to go to that vanishing point. So let's start with a road. So the first thing you're going to do is take your ruler, line it up to the vanishing point, and draw down. You're going to create a triangle, which will then create a road. I started drawing light lines so that if I need to erase, it's going to be much easier and you won't see my lines. And you'll understand when we get to the buildings why we do that. I'm going to draw a little bit heavier so that you can see them a little bit better. And then once I've got my road, so this is my road here, you can see it's very small towards the back of the picture and large in the foreground. Then I'm going to start and I'm going to make a center line down my road to help for my lines in the road. Once I do my center line, I'm actually going to draw a line right next to it on each side. This is going to help in your road. It's going to help make all of the center lines. And if you notice when you're on a road in the car, the lines aren't just one line. It actually creates a shape. So what you're going to do is with those, you can create your shape. Now, as you're working in perspective, one thing you'll want to know is that anything that goes to the vanishing point is smaller. So, and your lines will be closer together. So as I'm drawing towards the foreground, I'm going to space my lines out. So I'm going to do that on each side so that you can see. This is going to create my center lines in my road. And then I can go in and erase the lines that I don't need. And this is where you can also judge if you have enough space between. And then to finish off those shapes, here's one of the rules. If you're going to create a horizontal line on your picture plane, it needs to be parallel to your horizon line. So that means I need my ruler to line up perfectly even with my horizon line. So right now, it would not be parallel. But if I move it a little bit down, now it's parallel. So you'll go through and you'll make sure all of your lines are parallel. The reason we need them to be parallel to our horizon line is because if we don't, they'll actually look like they're laying down. And we don't, when we get to our buildings, want them to look like they're laying down. So there is my road so far. And I'm just going to quickly shade in this. It's going to actually be the opposite of maybe how I would normally color it in. But I'm doing that so you can see it a little bit better. So there's my road to start. Another thing I want to do is I'm going to add a sidewalk on each side. So what I can do is the same thing. Just like I did the road to start, draw a line from the vanishing point off the page. And then create the lines in your sidewalk. Make sure your ruler is parallel to your horizon line. And as you get towards the base of the paper, the lines in the sidewalk are going to be further apart. So here I have two sidewalks. Another little feature I like to do then is add a small line next to the one you just drew. This helps kind of create a curb. So you can see that there. And then I create with my ruler a parallel line that is vertical and it's parallel with the edge of my paper. So any vertical or horizontal lines need to be parallel with either the edge of the paper or parallel to your horizon line. That's the key rules. So now I have a sidewalk and it looks like I can actually stand and walk on my sidewalk.